Welcome back to another video. This will be like my second, maybe third day of Halloween. I'm not sure what order I'm gonna put this in when I schedule it out for October. I wanted to do a Halloween makeup look today, inspired by candy corn and like jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins and all that. It's gonna be a pretty orange look. So this is my illustration that I made. Like I drew the little candy corns here. I might do this thing. Mainly just want to do this. I'm not so certain about this pumpkin thing. I might not do that today, but we're gonna see how everything turns out. And I already did my base. If you want to know how I got here, I have a base video. The only thing that's different about this look is that I added just a little bit of orange and this shade called Flame Point. I blended a little bit of that on top of my blush. That's like a combination of pink, red, and purple. So that's like the only thing that I did differently than like my regular base video that I showed you guys a couple of days ago. Because this look is so orange, I did go ahead and add this in there so I could have like an orange blush look. I don't know what it is about blush makeup products, but they never worked for me. I got this e.l.f. luminescent blush putty and I tried it and I just don't like it. It doesn't really stand out as much as just using an eyeshadow. I'm going to be using my e.l.f. concealer, Fair Rose. So this is the e.l.f. concealer that I'm using. It's beige. If you want your eyeshadows to pop and you're using concealer as a base for your eyeshadows, you need to get the lightest concealer possible. Don't use like your regular concealer. Don't use your regular concealer shade. That is like this is my regular concealer shade. Like that's what I would use on my under eyes to highlight my base, my T-zone, and all of that. I'm not going to use this on my eyes because I'm using bright colors today and I want them to pop. When you use a concealer that is your skin tone as a base for your eyeshadow, then your eyeshadows can be a little darker, they can be a little bit dingier, they can be a little bit more subtle than what you may be originally going for. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. So this is the brush that I use to put on my concealer. It's thin, it's round, it's flat. Any flat brush will do for that. And I'm just going to do little dabs here, here, and here. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to tap. I can do little taps. And as I'm tapping, I'm kind of shaping it into the shape that I want it to be in. Just like this. I'm not worried about it being kind of spotty and not full coverage because we're gonna cover this with some eyeshadow. And I usually like to make my eyeshadow base a little bigger than this, but you know, for the sake of this video and not wanting to do too much with my eyes because I'm going to be doing a whole lot with my face later on, like that's what I'm going to be doing. And this is how it looks. While this is drying, I'm going to go here. You do not want to put eyeshadow on wet concealer. You want to give it a minute to dry during Pride month because you know they give you a lot of free stuff when you're at Pride. And sometimes if I'm like in a hurry to get things going, I'll just fan it just like this and like that. So this is nice and blended. I'm going to be using this Sugar Pill White eyeshadow, and then it is shade Taco, and I'm using this type of brush. It's like a short brush to start off with, and then I'm going to blend that into a yellow, and I'm going to blend the yellow into an orange, and I'm going to blend the orange into a slight red. Even though this is an orange look, I feel like the orange is going to make, I feel like the red is really going to make the orange pop, which is going to contrast to the yellow, and then make the yellow and the white contrast better. I'm sorry, I'm not good at explaining color theory and how that reads, but that's just how my brain is working right now, and I hope that you can follow along. So I'm just gonna tap it like this, kind of go on both sides and kind of poke it, and then I'm gonna shake it because it's a little loose. I don't know if you can see that powder kind of come from there. And there is a mirror right behind my phone, but I'm gonna use the mirror in this Blowing Smoke palette because it's just gonna give me a closer look. And I'm just gonna tap in here. So on camera, this looks like a really stark white, but in person it looks a little ashy, a little powdery to me, and not quite as pigmented as I want. So I'm gonna go over this white with this Concrete Minerals eyeshadow. It's a loose pigment, and it is shade called White Lies. I can't quite show you what this looks like because it is a loose pigment. I'm gonna try and get as close as I can. But yeah, that's pretty white. It also has like a little bit of a shimmer to it. So I'm going to just tap this and shake off the excess because that's going to create fallout. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tap that in there. I'm not going to do like a rubbing motion. I'm just going to do tiny little taps to like pack in the pigment like this. I'm actually going to be using a combination of 3 different colorful palettes today. For my yellow, I'm going to be using this Honey. That's what I'm going to transition this white into. And then for my orange, I'm going to be using this Orangey Glad palette by ColourPop. And then for my red, I might use this Wine and Only palette, but I also might just use my Sugar Pill mini color palette, fun size, with the 8-bit cat on it, because they have a really nice red called Game Over. Like this shade is a bright red, similar to the same red that I use for my lipstick to blend that orange out too. They also have a nice orange here, but that's more like a pastel orange, and I don't think it's gonna be super bright for me. And I also have a neon orange and a neon yellow, so if I decide that the orange and the yellows are not vibrant enough for me, then I will pack on the neon shades on top, and I'll be right back. This is what my Honey palette looks like. I'm going to start with this yellow and blend it into this yellow, because this yellow is going to be a great transition into an orange. And I'm going to be using this exact same brush because it's just easier. So this is what it looks like with the white blended into the bright yellow, and then the bright yellow blended into the dark yellow. And then on this rest of the space is where I'm going to put that orange and red. I'm on the Orangey Glad palette, and I am using, I just filled in this shade of orange. It's called Sunkissed, and then I'm gonna blend that into this shade of orange that's darker, and that shade is called Mimosa Mommy. And I'm doing the exact same brush strokes, and we're just blending it out. And then I'm going to blend this darker orange that almost looks brown into like a red. Okay, so this is what it looks like once I blended everything out. It is a little patchy around these areas, but I'm gonna go over them with 2 different glitters. So with the Honey palette, we have this glitter here, and then with the Orangey Glad palette, we have this glitter here. I just scooped some out accidentally with my nail, but that is the glitters I'm going to use to help cover those little spots where it's a bit patchy. Alright, so I had to go and do my eyeliner off of camera, but I'm going over like my under eye with the orange, like this. Now on to the liquid, the water activated liner stage. I'm going to be using 3 different shades from the Glamierre Cosmetics water activated liners. They're all a bit metallic, some more than others, but they're pure matte to me. So the yellow shade is called Mimosa. The white shade is called Mist. And the orange shade is called Citrus. I'm going to start off with white just to get the shape, and then I'm going to fill in the orange and the yellow lines, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a second. I'm going to be using nail art brushes for this look to really get those fine details. Here are the brushes that I'm mainly going to be using. The one that I'm going to use to get the shade. I've already sprayed my liner, and I'm just going to mix it with the water, like until it gets into like a good consistency, and then I'm going to test it on my hand, and that's a little too light for me. I'm gonna add some more water until it gets opaque, and I just test it like this. Alright, so this one's a little bit more opaque and it's not running, dripping with water. I can go ahead and use it. But actually, before I put on my line work, I'm going to put my highlighter on first, and I'm going to be using Sleepwalker Sugar Pill Cosmetics, and I might add a little bit of yellows and oranges too, and just add like a little dabs like this. I think I'm just going to use my finger to really get the dab that I want, and then I just blend it out the way that I want it to be. Okay, so you guys know that this is my go-to palette for my highlighters to match with my eyeshadow depending on what look I'm doing. This is what I used for my highlighter today. I started off with gold, and then I went in with orange. The orange is actually from the Orangey Glide palette, this shimmery shade like right here. And then I went over this orange and I blended it into this white. So this shade, like right, can you guys see? Alright, so this shade right here is what I am using on like this outer part. So it's like a candy corn highlighter to match my candy corn eyeshadow. So I went ahead and filled in these, and I added some white to the tops and the middles so that I already have an idea of where I want to go. I'm going in with yellow now. I finished my line work off of camera because I've already showed you guys how I did the shape and how I dotted everything in with those 3 liners, and this is what the candy corns look like. I decided not to do the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin thing today. I feel like that will be better for a different look, and I'm not going to try and combine a pumpkin with a clown and candy corn. Like, I'm just going to stick to candy corn, and this is the look. I'm going to do my eyebrows and put on some mascara, maybe some lashes to make like a full-on look for you. But basically this is it. I think I am gonna go ahead and add some of my freckles, which is just like literally me taking a thin brush like this, dabbing it in to my liner, and just going all over my face. Like I typically start like up here. Some of them can be big, some of them can be small, some of them can be splotchy, and yeah. Okay, so this is the final look. I went ahead and did my brows, and I finished my line work, and this is my lips. I'm not doing lashes today. I'm just doing mascara, and unfortunately my phone died midway recording. I thought I got footage of me doing my line work and my waterline here and adding a little bit more to my highlight here. But you know, this is my brow. It's orange and it fades into a yellow and into a white. They're uneven, but you know, they're sisters, they're not twins. This is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it entertaining, found it educational or something somehow. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.